Crawford and Chair DeFazio and the other members of the esteemed committee. I serve in 2 oversight roles in California that are relevant to the discussion before you today. I'm the executive director of the authority that manages the San Joaquin Amtrak intercity service, the 6th largest corridor in the nation. I've also shepherded the ACE commuter rail program based out of Stockton in the Central Valley for the last 20 years. Both these services do run through the Central Valley and into the urban areas of the greater San Francisco Bay Area and Sacramento. From these 2 roles, I've developed a unique perspective on the differences between managing an Amtrak contract and managing Herzog, a private sector unionized contractor, on 2 systems that are both fully funded by the state and local taxpayers. Shockingly, despite both of these being publicly funded, one route costs 3 times as much as the other on a per passenger mile basis. While working on this testimony, I was inspired by the great Charles Dickens, and the following is my tale of 2 services. ACE and the San Joaquins. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. One of our operators focuses on customer responsiveness, data sharing, collaboration, and shared performance expectations. Costs are rational, they're developed jointly with our agency, and worked in a true partnership. Because of these factors, this service is growing. The other operator focuses a lot on protecting its proprietary data, solely develops its own service plan, staffing allocation, and other costs without our input, has no shared performance objectives with our governing board. Costs are not rationally tied to actual service provided. Management suggestions by the agencies are often discarded, and the operator seems to have no incentive or interest in partnership. Because of these factors, this service is declining. I would ask you which operator you would want running your business or even your district office. One operator, Herzog, actively controls expenses and comes in under budget year after year. And during the last California recession, they worked with me to both tighten our belts so that no rail service was cut and no employees were laid off. The other operator, Amtrak, exceeds its own budget projections year after year with little, if any, explanation. Their only remedy has been to seek additional funding from our state. To double-check these trends, we aggregated data from the 2018 National Transit Database. We wanted to compare our ACE service and our commuter rail peers with the Amtrak San Joaquin contract. Not surprising, but still shocking, we found that they were triple the cost not only of ACE, but our peer commuter rail properties as well. How do we reconcile knowing both are funded publicly by our state and local taxpayers? Going back to the days of Mr. Joe Boardman, myself and our agency, we've asked for critical cost-sharing data. We've asked for explanations of significant cost increases. We have asked to try to at least get to the middle on the food and beverage program. I believe it is an amenity that passengers want, but we're losing almost $2.5 million a year, and we've just asked to try to close that gap. We'd like to be able to collaborate on maintenance practices on the equipment that we own. And we'd like a rationale for why, when service cuts are put in place as a management decision to control costs, costs instead go up with no explanation. Our attempts to discuss these issues with various Amtrak leadership typically start with, we will look into it. Ultimately, though, transition to defensiveness, resistance, and then, in the end, just futility. But this critique of national Amtrak is by no means intended as an indictment of the hardworking men and women of Amtrak in California. In fact, there have been many local Amtrak personnel who've swum upstream against the current on our behalf, and their efforts are greatly appreciated. But the fact of the matter is, local Amtrak employees are held hostage to this same broken national structure. We've been struggling for years to make this make sense for the California taxpayers. And yet, to be fair, Amtrak is almost forced to seizing our state funding as bankroll to meet some of the congressional mandates placed upon them. I know it can and should work much better than this. I have that experience, that comparison. The San Joaquins can thrive and grow. The California taxpayers can get affordable, high-quality service equal to their investment. We already have the living proof for how that can be done. I hope our agency can work with members of this committee to craft some solution to improve what goes into the reauthorization bill. Thank you.